Well, hello. Jane Hogan here, the wellness engineer. Welcome to Wellness by Design today. Today, I am going to be talking about how to activate a healing mindset. So, mindset is so important, and our thoughts are so important. And I honestly believe we cannot heal without the right kind of thoughts. So that's why I want to talk about this today and to share a little bit of what's helped me and so many other people that I've worked with as well. So, what we're going to talk about today is what's meant by healing mindset. How does the mind influence the body? And how your thoughts can either create a healing state in the body or a painful state in the body. And also, of course, the one thing you can do today to improve your health. So let's get started. What do I mean by a healing mindset? To me, a healing mindset means using your mind as a tool to help create healing in your body. So we don't really think of our mind as a tool, and we kind of think of our mind as being separate from our body. But our mind is our mind and our body and our spirit are all totally connected. They are not separate. They are always working in a dance together. And so if we are not utilizing the power of our mind, then we are actually we can be harming ourselves, but also we are not taking advantage of this tool that can really help us. So when I talk about a healing mindset, I mean a mindset that's contributing to your health and well-being. And I'm talking about consciously as well as subconsciously. Okay, so consciously. So here's the thing. I used to read everywhere 80. We have 80,000 thoughts per day. Some people said 60 to 80,000, but there was a study in 2020 that came up with a number. They said it's more like 6,000, just over 6,000. 6,200 is what they came up with. So that's a lot different than, 60 to 80,000, but it's still a lot of thoughts every day, right? So there are constantly thoughts. If you ever stop to observe your mind, you know that you are constantly thoughts are popping in all the time, right? So this is a totally normal part of the human experience. So knowing that we have about 6,200 thoughts per day, our thoughts that are in our conscious mind are being listened to. Well, I'm saying listened. I mean, it's not exactly listen, but our subconscious and our conscious minds are working together as well. So the subconscious mind runs the body, right? We don't have to think about any of these processes that are constantly going on in our body all the time. And imagine if we had to think about all that. It's kind of like when you first learn to drive a car. I mean, the processes in our body are way more than the processes we have to use to drive a car. But do you remember learning to drive a car and how there was so much to think about when you were first learning to drive a car? You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta look in the mirror. I gotta think, like, I gotta watch how fast I'm going. I gotta look at all the traffic all around me. There was so much to think about when we were first learning to drive a car. And now we can get in our car and drive from A to B and hardly even remember the journey because we created habits. We created through our conscious thought, we created habits that then went into our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind can just run and do those things without us really having to consciously think about it. And that's as well, just running our body. We never did have to think consciously about running our body, beating our heart, sending out hormones for this or that, or digestive enzymes. We didn't have to think about any of those things. Our body just does that automatically. Our subconscious mind runs our body, but it's constantly getting information from our conscious mind. So it gets information through our senses, right? Through our thoughts about the world around us, these 6,200 odd thoughts that we're having every day. Now, That can be either good or bad, right? So when I talk about a healing mindset, we want to work it so that it's actually helping us and working for us. So if we can, so we, our state of health right now and the state of our physical body is a reflection of the past thoughts that we have had, conscious thoughts and subconscious thoughts. So if we like where we are, that's great. Keep thinking and doing the same thing. But if you have a health condition, if you've got chronic pain or some other health condition, then if you keep thinking the same thoughts, then you will keep getting the same physical result because our bodies are constantly turning over. Cells are constantly changing. We're not even physically the same person we were 7 years ago. So we're constantly turning over. The direction for the new expression of cells, new creation of cells, it they're getting the information through the genes and it gets passed on, but that's coming from our mind. So thoughts are important. Our thoughts are creating us, our physical body, along with other things, of course, other inputs like the foods that we're eating and so on, toxins, things in our environment. But I'm talking today about our mindset and how to use that to help you. So these 60 odd or 6,000 odd thoughts we're having every day in our conscious mind, if we want to create a different physical manifestation than we are right now, so if you are in pain, if you don't like where you are, then if you keep thinking the same thoughts, you'll keep having the same result. So you need to change the thoughts so that you have a different result. Okay, so how do we change our thoughts? There's a few ways we can change our thoughts. We can consciously change our thoughts. So that starts with awareness. So you need to start becoming aware of what you're thinking. What am I thinking? And how do you do that? You can't be aware of what you're thinking if you're busy, busy, busy all the time. So you need to have moments where you slow down and begin to notice what your thoughts are. You can also get an idea of what your thoughts are by the feelings in your body. So noticing, do you have like a tightness in your belly? Are you clenching your jaw? Do you have shoulder pain? Do you feel like a sadness in your heart? So sometimes these feelings give us an indication of what we're thinking because it's instantaneous. In fact, usually, I mean, some people will say your thoughts give you your feelings, and then some people say it's the other way around. Feelings come first. I don't know really, but I know that our thoughts can influence the feelings that we're having in our body. So noticing what you're feeling in your body, if you don't feel peace, if you don't feel happiness or love, I mean, just any of these positive kinds of feelings, then you are having feelings that are, if they're not on the positive end, then they are feelings that are contributing to poor health. They will contribute to poor health. And so we want to change our thoughts so that our thoughts are contributing to good health, right? Basically, it's going to put us into a state of the nervous system that creates health. That's the rest, digest, repair state. That's where we get health. That's where we heal. So we want to get in that state as much as possible. So, so how do we do this with our thoughts? So I mentioned first thing is to become aware of what you're thinking by slowing down and noticing. Slowing down and noticing, how do you feel in your body? Are you feeling unease somewhere? Do you have aches and pains? These kinds of things will give you an indication that your thoughts are not positive thoughts, at least not all the time. So how do we change our thoughts? We can change them consciously. So we can do it consciously by noticing what's positive, by feeling gratitude and being thankful for the things that are going well in our life. We can journal about that. We can like have little reminders and just kind of start to create a new habit of thinking positive thoughts, of noticing what's going well. And when you notice what's going well, when you're feeling gratitude, then it brings your nervous system into a state of the rest and digest repair state, which is the healing state, more often. So you may need to really make a habit out of consciously doing this until it becomes an actual habit. So just like I mentioned earlier with driving the car, in the beginning, you had to really think about all these different things, and then it became a habit. So things that you can do are, things like thinking about gratitude first thing when you wake up in the morning, thinking about gratitude last thing before you go to sleep at night. You can be grateful for the food that's in front of you. Look around you and go on like a gratitude rampage for all the wonderful things that you have, or people that you have in your life. So doing these kinds of things to get yourself thinking more positively is helpful. Slowing down so that you've got some awareness of what your thoughts are, that's helpful. Now, for the subconscious mind, it's a little bit trickier because we don't actually know what's going on in there, but we can help replace those thoughts that are going on in our subconscious mind by repetition is one way to do it. So repetition, what do I mean by repetition? Well, it's constantly, like I said earlier, sort of listening to our conscious mind. So if we put these through repetition, put these positive thoughts in our mind, then eventually it's like we're creating new wires, new neural networks in our subconscious mind then with these positive thoughts. So affirmations are a way to do it. I am feeling good in my body. I am so grateful for all the blessings in my life. I am a healing machine. So you say these thoughts, you repeat them over and over in your head. And I say repeat them with feeling too, because feelings are even more powerful. So you feel the feelings that go along with them. And we then can begin to replace the old negative thinking with this more positive thinking in our subconscious mind. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to get into a suggestive state and a calm state. So you can do that through meditation is a great way to do that. So what do I mean by meditation? I just mean there's so many different ways of meditating, but if you just get sort of calm and just sort of feel good and peaceful, maybe you say a peaceful word, maybe you repeat a mantra, maybe you just focus on breathing in and out and the feel of your breath, whatever it is, you're not thinking about the past or the future. You're just in the moment. And that gives your mind a little bit of a break from the negative thoughts, at least, right? And then you can also add some visualization. Maybe you want to add some visualization of times when you felt really good and felt a lot of love, and repeat these visions in your mind. Maybe you want to even envision a time in the future where you're feeling really good. So these are different ways you can reprogram your mind so that you've got a healing mindset. So we want to do this because not only are we reprogramming our mind and creating a healing mindset, we're activating that healing mindset. When we do this, when we have more positive thoughts, we also can change behaviors. So basic cognitive theory is that cognitive behavior theory is that our thoughts create our feelings in our body. So we have a thought, we have a feeling in response to that, which then creates our actions or inactions. And then that creates an outcome. So in other words, if you're having a feeling of, I feel really crappy and all I want to do is just, eat a bag of chips, then you're having crappy thoughts, you're feeling crappy, then that affects your action, right? Go eat the chips. And then your result is probably not feeling so good afterwards, right? Compare that to a different thought. I'm a master over my mind. I don't have to have those chips. And then you have a feeling of, I can do this. And then I said action or inaction. So the inaction is, well, no, I'm going to pass up on those right now. I'm going to be fine without them. And then the result, you feel better. So just a really simple example of how your thoughts can then affect your results, your behavior, and then your results. So, all right, let's see where I am. So the last thing I want to mention is what I always do in the show, and that is the one thing you can do today to, I would say, it's about intentional living, right? So to design, it's wellness by design, design a better health and a better life for yourself. And that is my tip for today, is to become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of your thoughts. So take the time to notice. Maybe you just sit down, with a journal and just notice, just like stream of consciousness writing, what thoughts are popping into your head. See if you can notice a pattern. Are they positive thoughts? Are they negative thoughts? And if they are negative thoughts, what could you do to change them? What could you do to change them? So I do have a little course that you are, it's not an expensive course. Let me just try to find the link to it. You can get to it if you go to my member vault, janehoganhealth.vipmembervault.com. You can see my courses, but I do have a very inexpensive course there. It's only $37. It's a 5-day course. Activate a healing mindset. So there's a small action step you can take every day. So I do a little bit of teaching on video. I do a little action, give you a little action, I call it heart work instead of homework. Heart work action step to take each day to help you activate that healing mindset. Now, I also want to mention this is day 2 of my Becoming Pain-Free Summit. So depending on when you're listening to this, the summit may still be live, or it could be not live anymore. But you could still, if you get it while it's live, you can watch it for free. And if you're listening to this after it's live, you can buy it as well and then have it for your as long as you want in your health library. So it's called Becoming Pain-Free: Healing the Root Causes of Chronic Pain. I've interviewed almost 50 wellness experts, and it's amazing. Started yesterday. These are all people who help people get out of pain naturally, and it's everything that I took a long time, years to figure out. I wanted all of these topics to be in one place to help other people get out of chronic pain. And it's not about a quick solution. It's not about masking the pain, because pain really is information. It's our body talking to us. It's in the language that it uses. And so we don't want to just cover it up and mask it. We want to get at the root causes so that eventually we stop the pain. So in this summit, you'll get the inspiration and the knowledge and tools to learn how to become pain-free. So I do have a link for that as well, which I will share here. It's painfreebyhealthmeans.com, painfreebyhealthmeans.com. And that is where you can sign up for the free summit. I think the first day is done now. So now it's on to day 2. Today is all about energy. And I'm really excited about the speakers today. We got Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's like one of my idols, Dr. Sue Morter, another one of my idols, and Deborah Wayne. She does a beautiful guided high-speed healing energy experience. Dr. Eva Detko, Dr. Christine Schaffner does talking about energy and how to drain, help the lymphatic system drain and do its job. And also Lloyd Burrell talking about electromagnetic fields and how they affect our health. So I hope you join me at the summit, painfreebyhealthmeans.com. And other than that, I hope you have a fantastic day and you try this out. Try noticing your thoughts, becoming aware of your thoughts, noticing when they are negative. You may notice it by a feeling in your body as well. And can you change it? Notice how you can change your thoughts, and you will have a different physiological reaction. This happens all the time. Think about when we have an embarrassing moment, right? It's a thought, and we blush and have a physical reaction. Think about attraction to the opposite sex. There's definitely physiological responses going on there, right? So we can create our own physiological response, a positive response, by noticing our thoughts and changing our thoughts. All right. Have a beautiful day, my friends. We'll see you again later. Bye.